We're so fortunate to have Jennifer Hawkins here with us today to get us up and get us moving. Jennifer Hawkins is the CEO of Starbound Performers. It's a performing arts center located in Central Florida, USA. So she is a 7-time recipient of, I'm going to stop my video. I'm sorry. I'm going to pause. There we go. She's a 7-time recipient of America's Top Teacher Award and has traveled around the world teaching educators as well as dance studio owners really fun ways that they can interact with their students in the classroom. Her dance team members have won several national, international, US, and world dance team championships over the past several years. And in 2001, they won the National Dance Team Champion. So we are so happy to have Jennifer here with us today. I'm just going to put a disclaimer in the chat for you to read before we get started, and then we are going to get rolling. Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to share your knowledge with us today. So let's get up and get moving.
Well, thank you so much. I hope everyone can hear me. You got to love those moments when technology decides to do its own thing right before a big presentation, right? None of you have ever had that happen before, I'm sure of it, because you probably have your act together much better than I do with my computer at the moment. So thank you for being patient and waiting for me to get online. And I'm super excited to be with everyone today. And thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I actually put a little something in here. I always love when we get that opportunity to be with people that are within the same industry that we love and adore so much. And as I was thinking about, they're probably going to introduce me and they'll mention this, that, or the other. But the one thing that I think gets put to the side sometimes, or we as presenters sometimes to fail to talk about, is the fact that we are normal, average, everyday people. We may have credentials that look a little bit different from other individuals, some good, some bad, right? We are living through that roller coaster ride of life. And I think the most important thing to me, outside of all of those things that were mentioned in my bio, is the fact that I'm a mom. And I wanted to have some pictures of my family so that I could share those with all of you, so that you could see that I'm just as real as everyone else that's out there. This is kind of fun for me to actually share these 2 pictures of my family. They were taken in the state of Arizona. We've got a lot of connections there. I live in Florida, just outside of the Orlando area. And I'm married to my husband, who you can see is standing next to me by the cactus that are there in Arizona. And then we have 3 children. Our oldest is Chamberlain, and she was an Olympic hopeful. She had made it all the way to Olympic trials back in her day when it was her prime. She's an elite gymnast, very active young lady, and does some coaching in the Arizona area with some of the gyms there. And then our oldest son, Stockton, who is standing behind me. That's why I needed to share 2 pictures, because I don't have a current photo of my children, and I think they would kill me if I shared pictures from when they were little. So Stockton has got his head popping up behind me in the photo that looks like it's a Christmas holiday picture there. He currently is a manager of Amazon Fresh in Seattle, Washington. I failed to mention, I think I mentioned that maybe Chamberlain lives in the Phoenix area there in Arizona, and Stockton lives in Seattle. And then next to me in both of the pictures is our youngest, Braden. He is going into his junior year and is a golf guru, spends many an hour at the golf course, and hopes to be able to get a scholarship to one of the colleges across the country that has a good golf team. And Arizona happens to be one of the areas he's looking in. So just wanted to share my connection with the state of Arizona. We love it there and appreciate all of you from the university that have allowed me to participate in this conference today. So with this topic of everyone getting up and moving and physical fitness and activities that we can do in and out of the classroom, I thought it would be fun to ask all of you kind of a, physical fitness type question to kick things off. And so if each of you would take just a minute and think about the past 24 hours. I know that's hard, right? Sometimes we get so busy to think, what did I do over the past 24 hours? And within the past 24 hours, how many physical fitness activities or physical activities have you participated in? Think about that for a minute. Okay, so I want you to try to come up with at least 3. And maybe we could go ahead and post some of those in our chat. So some aren't going to be able to do physical activities right now. I see we've had a knee surgery. Not fun. Dancing with the kids while cooking. I love that one. Okay, walked the dog. We actually are babysitting a dog for a friend. So we've actually had an opportunity to do some of that. Yoga, weight training. I love this. Someone said something about moving an ice machine. I think that's what I caught on the screen there. Baseball practice. It looks like a lot of you are super active with the activities that you're doing with your families and children. I love this. Chasing the children around. We do that as parents, don't we? Up and down the stairs doing laundry. Oh, I love that one. Okay, so even our simple household tasks can be something that we could consider in a checkoff list throughout the day that we participated in a physical fitness activity. Have any of you uploaded on your phones? There's many an app that's available where you can keep track of like your steps throughout the day. Maybe you keep count of your calories or the physical activities that you're doing. And I often find it interesting, if you dive deep into those apps, they actually include like cleaning your house is a physical activity. And I don't know that when we talk about physical activities that we necessarily include all of those type of exercises that we're doing throughout the day. So thank you for sharing your list with me. I wanted to make all of you just a little jealous. The scene here in Florida has been beautiful over the past few days, as I know it has been in Arizona and across the country as well. But over the past 24 hours, I've had an opportunity to take a little walk and a stroll down by our lake that is near our house. We've got a beautiful bike path there, and just wanted to share with you the beautiful sunset that we were able to see within the past 24 hours here in Florida. It's gorgeous. So again, thank you for sharing all of your beautiful comments in the chat with regards to the activities you have done. So now let's go ahead and see if my screen will allow me here. Here we go again. I love when technology freezes up when we're just trying to get to the next screen. Okay, so if we're going to be the ones encouraging the children within our classrooms to get up and move, I think that it's important for us to look in the mirror first, right? We need to be moving just as much as we're encouraging the movement to happen in our classroom setting. And so as we go through these tips and as I share some of the stories that I'm going to be sharing with you, I want you to first off know that I have permission from each of these families and these children to share these stories and photos. So no panicking there. I have permission slips from all of these families to share these beautiful stories. So let's dive on into a couple of tips that I have found really work well when trying to encourage children these days to get up and move, especially since so many of them would prefer to sit on the couch or to play a game on their device. Getting up and moving is not something that a lot of them really want to do unless they're nudged a little bit to do it. All right, so first off, let me share with you that we've got to give them the opportunity to be active. A little bit of time here or there, like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, can really make a difference. When we show them as adults that we're excited to take a walk, or we want to play an interactive game, or we're not afraid to allow them to use some of the props that we might have in our classroom setting. Maybe we even set some of those props at some of the local stations that we have set up in our classroom setting. When we show them that it's okay to interact and it's okay to play and it's okay to pull things off of the shelf and start allowing their imaginations to run wild a little bit, the physical activity will start to begin. And this is a beautiful example. We were in the middle of teaching just a regular average day class here at our dance studio. And you'll see that these girls have ballet slippers on their feet. But we had pulled out some scarves that day, and they're super long scarves. And we thought for sure that this was going to be more of just a them dancing around us kind of an activity. But what it turned into was them being princesses that had superpowers. And they were able to slay the dragon, and all of these really cool things started to happen in the classroom as we allowed them to be creative with the prop that we had set out for them to use in class that day. Super fun activity. They couldn't wait to go running out in the lobby to share with their parents all of the adventures that they had been on with their scarves tied around their neck. Now, you'll see that they have their scarves on in different places because we wanted them to show their personality. Some did not like the fact that it was wrapped around their neck. Others wanted to be more like Anna and Elsa and had to have a cape. So be creative with the things you have in your classroom is what I'm sharing with you, and let them feel like it's a comfortable place where they can play and explore and have a good time. Physical fitness works great sometimes when we're all on our own, and some of us like to be introvert, and we like to keep our thoughts and our comments and our activities and things all to ourselves. But many of us love to have a friend, and especially when it comes to physical fitness activities. This was a scene that took place that I just absolutely had to capture on film. It was way too cute. These two little munchkins, Sadie, who you can see her name on the back of her little leotard, she happens to be 3, and Soraya is 2. And Soraya decided one day that she would just go grab Sadie's hand, and she goes, "Let's go to class." And they were very excited, hand in hand, to walk into the classroom setting together. What you don't see is what happened weeks following this scene. When children have friends and they're secure in their environment, especially a physical fitness environment, they're going to want to invite more and more friends into the classroom. And that's exactly what we saw week after week. It started out as just Soraya and Sadie, and then they added Ava, and then they added Annalise, and they added more and more of their friends hand in hand into the classroom. I'm sure you feel that way too, right? When you're beginning or launching into a new program or a new activity, whether it's for yourself or for your children, you like to know that someone's going to either have you be accountable to them for your actions, or know that they're going to be by your side and you're not the only one sweating it out and going through the physical pain of exercise sometimes. Okay, now let's talk about what else can happen when we launch into this world of physical fitness, especially with children. A lot of the children today, especially with the school campuses that I have an opportunity to be on, what I've noticed over the past couple of years is that PE has been cut back to maybe once a week for the children. And so to get some of their physical fitness activities, a lot of them need to be involved in extracurricular activities if the parents hope to see them, get up and be active and moving. However, sometimes we throw our children or a group of children into activities or exercises that might not be the right fit for them. Have you ever stopped to think about that? So sometimes we're throwing them into something that they're not quite ready for. And that's really the example I wanted to share with you. You'll see that I have a picture of Abby, And Abby is standing in the very back of this really active group of young friends of mine. But Abby is extremely shy, and Abby does not like to have her friends watch her or see her in action. She likes to do things privately. She's a very well-mannered young lady. She excels in school. She just does not want to do physical fitness activities in front of her friends. This particular day was an all-star A+ day for Abby. And let me share with you why. For weeks upon weeks, we had been preparing for a dance showcase that these children were going to be doing for their school and for the community. And Abby, in this particular routine, was going to be asked to do some cartwheels across the stage. Abby does beautiful cartwheels, and Abby had been practicing for weeks. But when all of a sudden her friends were watching her or going to be part of the routine, she didn't want anything to do with it because she was super scared. In fact, she came and she grabbed my leg and she grabbed my body and hid behind me as if she were almost like that scene you see with 2-year-olds when they're having to say goodbye to their parents for a period of time and they're not used to that quite yet. So that kind of became the scene on this school campus. But what happened was instead of allowing Abby to just sit back and not participate, we slowly groomed Abby into where she could feel comfortable doing her cartwheels across the stage by herself in front of her group of friends. So the first time it was me with Abby attached to my leg, then it became Abby doing her cartwheels, but I had to stand in a certain place and walk along with her as she's doing the cartwheels. Then finally she did them on her own. And then when we got to the actual production and showcase that they performed, she actually went out on the stage in front of 300 plus people and did her cartwheels all on her own. But I share this story because it's baby steps sometimes, right? Their personalities come into play, their skill set may come into play, their desires, their size. There's so many things that we have to take time and consider as we are the adults that are mentoring these young children. And unfortunately, I'm sure many of you have seen this as I have too. There are a lot of families or parents that want to live their dreams through their children. And that can be really a scary and sad place for some of these kids to be. So I wanted to point that out so that it'll be something in your classrooms that maybe you'll pay a little bit closer attention to. Okay, so then there's always, once we get into sports and physical fitness and activities in our classroom, sometimes we will come up with this grandiose idea as a teacher that, oh, if you do this, you're going to be #1, or let's go class, we're awesome and we're the best and we are going to win all the time, and have no fear, you're never going to lose, you know, you're the best of the best. Winning is great and teaching about winning is wonderful, but when it comes time for children to learn what it feels like to actually come in 2nd place or 3rd place or to lose, you either end up with a bucket full of tears or you end up with a lot of contention. And so I'd love to encourage you that it's important to teach both lessons in the classroom and with the activities that we're doing with the children. This happens to be a group of students that we work with that has had to learn this lesson. They compete, they do competitive dance, but they also do recreational programs. And in that competitive dance world, especially, it can be a pretty nasty environment from time to time. And so we've had to teach them, just go out and do your very best. And if you do your best and you've worked hard, you'll reap the reward that you deserve based off of your actions and your hard work. And I think that mentality of teaching them that if you do your best, you cannot fail. I think that that's kind of a better way to guide children down the path than we're #1 and we never will fail. So watch that as well as you're doing activities with the children in the classroom. Encourage them to do their best. And sometimes that may mean that doing their best is just actually getting up off of the floor or out of the seat and taking a couple of steps towards the playground. So, all right, my next little thought here that I wanted to share was teaching the health benefits of exercise. And this was just a little activity I pulled, and I took a picture of it. I wanted to share. There's many different ways that you could use this type of an activity in the classroom. I'm sure you do some activities in the classroom where you talk about healthy foods, unhealthy foods. You may even talk about fruits and vegetables and the difference between those type of foods and, you know, cookies and donuts and treats like that. So this is just a concept and idea. It's a half apron, and you can see I didn't put a lot of work into coloring or putting these food items on colored paper or anything crazy. They're just on simple white paper and they've been laminated. But what I like to do is I'll stand as the teacher with this half apron on, and we'll go through an exercise where maybe we'll have the fruits and the vegetables and the cookies and the snacks all in a baggie, and the kids come and pull it out of the bag, and they have to decide, is this a healthy food or a not so healthy food for my body? And then they get to distribute those into the apron or vice versa, pulling those objects out of the apron and then putting the object out, so the children can see the difference between a healthy food for their body versus an unhealthy food for their body. You can also see that there's a little cutout of a person. Obviously, there's many ways to teach physical fitness, healthy and unhealthy foods. These were just some props in my classroom setting that I've used in the past to try to teach this concept that as you are eating healthy and doing physical fitness activities, you're making your heart stronger, your muscles are getting stronger. And I think that this would be something you'd have to make sure that you're adjusting to the different age brackets that you work with. You may have very little tiny children all the way up to maybe your 4 or 5-year-olds. Maybe some of you are even teaching those that are older than that. But definitely there are some fun interactive ways that you can teach about heart healthy foods and physical fitness at the same time. And launching from that, many of you as teachers know this already because it's something that you're well aware of, but the more that we get our children up and moving, the faster that their brain is going to be functioning, and all of those wonderful things that you're teaching as a teacher in the classroom will have the ability to be contained and memorized and understood a little bit better. I was blown away. I'm sorry to share so many stories, but I hope that there will be one or two that touch you or that will ring a bell, or maybe you got experiences like these as well in your classroom. So we just in Florida, and I'm pretty sure you in Arizona have finished up your school year as well. And one of the things that I love to do at the tail end of the school year is to ask our families to share with me how their students did in the classroom. And again, we are seeing children from 18 months all the way to 19 years old at our facility here. So I was blown away by how many families were sending in messages to let me know that their children had been on the honor roll for the entire school year, or maybe they had received the presidential award, but just beautiful achievements that the students receive because they're adding some physical activity into their day. And we don't obviously want to take anything away from the classroom because the things that are being taught there obviously are super important, but these extracurricular activities do play a key role in what we see with the results in the classroom setting as well. Okay, here's something that I know is becoming more and more of a big topic out there in the world that we live in today. And that is that the children that we're interacting with these days, and even us as adults, we've got so much pressure on us, the stress can build up. The children have got a lot on their plates too. And so many of these children are coming from broken and diverse families at this point where the stress load, I have never seen anything quite like it, to be honest. Anxiety is huge. And a lot of the children just don't understand how to release this energy that they feel inside. And so when they get to that physical activity, it's suddenly that place where they can release all of the stress that they've been feeling throughout their day. And so let's not forget that physical fitness can play a key role when it comes to reducing the stress levels that these children have got. This is my friend, Gracie. She is in the yellow shirt. Gracie comes from a very interesting background. She lives with her grandparents, and Gracie has really struggled this past school year. She's been expelled from school a couple of times. She's got some medical issues, so please know that that's part of the scenario here. Because she is living in more of an adult world, her conversations with kids her age and the type of content she wants to talk about are very much inappropriate for a younger age bracket to hear and to be around. And unfortunately, because of that situation that has played out for her in her life, she has really struggled. That's the best way to put it. But her grandma decided that she needed to have some after school physical fitness activities to participate in. So grandma signed her up for everything you can imagine. And as we've arrived on this particular school campus, I have seen miracles happen in Gracie's life because she's been able to reduce the stress of the school day and having to be quiet and still and do all of those things that we need them to do throughout their school day. But to be able to release that, it's been beautiful. And unfortunately, there's a lot of children on the campus that want to bully her or don't want to be her friend because of these mannerisms. But this little sweet girl, Karina, has wrapped her with loving arms and has, oh God, I'm gonna cry, has embraced Gracie with so much love. And there have been times where this little Gracie has been so obnoxious. I mean, and I'm a very experienced teacher, but let me tell you, there are some that even these days can give you the gray hairs that only your hairdresser knows you're covering up. And Gracie was one of them. But I'm so proud of Karina welcoming her with open arms, being her friend, allowing Gracie to have her moment to be angry if she needs to, and to be bubbly and happy on other days when she's striving to make friends. So please watch for those sweet little ones that just need that extra love throughout your day. Okay, so let's talk about group activities. When we've got the children involved in a group activity, there is no stopping them from getting up and moving around. But I find that it's important that we get those dates and times scheduled, right? We as teachers, we've got all of these awesome lesson plans and we've got all of these activities and the arts and the crafts and the lessons that we're teaching, but we sometimes fail to include in our planning or in our calendar those moments in time where we can actually slide in a group activity. And these group activities are really fun when you've got some leadership skills that you're incorporating in, where the children actually get to feel like they're the leader for the day. So I encourage you to take time, look at your calendar, make sure that there are some time slots specifically penciled in where the kids can have group physical activities happening. And then lastly, this is my last little tip before we get into just some fun ideas and concepts that we'll share with each other. But the last is just kind of building that self-confidence. I know you all do this on a daily basis, so I'm preaching to the wrong choir here because I know that you all do this very, very well. But when they have the confidence, you can see they just want to shine, right? They want to be little all-stars. They can't wait to show you the next great thing that they've mastered out on that playground or in the back area of the classroom or wherever they may be. They really and truly become shining stars when we are building their confidence. And that your little compliments can go a very long way, right? You'll see there's a picture of the three little critters, I like to call them. Blue shirt on the left-hand side of the screen, that's Sammy, and in the middle is Carter, and on the very tail end of the other side of the screen is Charlie. Sammy, Carter, and Charlie are besties, and they have so much to share with me on a weekly basis. And it's everything from look at my cartwheel, look at my handstand, look at how I twirl, look at how I spin. And along with the other girls you see on the screen, they just get so excited to have someone stop and compliment. That's all we have to do, stop and compliment. So please, although I know that there are moments too, because I have felt it, let's be honest, sometimes you get tired of them calling your name, right? Like, Miss Jennifer, look, hey, do you see? Can I show you? Can I show you? We've all been there, but I've learned my lesson that these sweet little angels have so much to teach us that it would be a shame for us as an adult to turn our back to them when they've got something sweet they want to share. So I hope that you'll continue to do what you're already doing in the classroom with all of these ideas that have been shared with regards to just, complimenting the kids, getting them up and moving, making sure they've got friends, making sure it's the right activity, etc. Okay, so I've done way too much chit-chatting. I think it's time to have another group chat or interactive moment here. So let's see. I would like for you to think for just a minute about all of the things you have in your classroom. Do you see all of those awesome things that you have in your classroom? What type of tools and things do you already have in your classroom that could actually be used for a physical fitness activity? Think about it for a minute. Okay, so if you've got an idea, go ahead and place your comment in the chat. Okay, I'm going to give you some ideas. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Ooh, okay, we're going to talk about the yoga mats. I've got some of those too, and the dice and more yoga mats. Love it. How many of you have like those big old wooden blocks in your classroom? Have you ever used the wooden blocks as a physical fitness activity? Think about all of the obstacle courses you could place in the classroom with just a simple wooden block. Yeah. Okay, see, we've got some wooden blocks that are being popped up on the screen here. I love it. Cones, yes. Cones are great, especially for speed and agility, having them go weaving in and out. Stuffed caterpillar. Ooh, like a hot potato. Oh, I love that. Okay. And we've got hula hoops and scarves, the parachute. Oh, I love the parachute, especially I love watching the little bodies as they're shaking and all of their cheek muscles are going up and down because they're giving it their all. I love it. These are great ideas, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so I want to share a couple of pictures from, I just grabbed random things, and some of these things you've already mentioned, so I love that you've already shared them. Let's see if my screen will decide to be my friend again. Come on. Oh, I am loving my computer today. Okay, so here are a few things I just ran and gathered, okay? And a few of these I'm gonna have actually got some other slides and we'll dive deeper into what they are. But I love creative ideas. And I hope that as we go through the next few screens here, I'll have moments where we'll stop and we'll pause, and I'm going to ask you to throw some comments into the chat. but I also thought it would be fun to just share some ideas with all of you. So hopefully there will be some fun things that maybe you already are doing in the classroom or that you can take away and implement in the classroom. So let's start with the tortoise and the hare. I'm sure you've done activities where you ask the kids to go fast or you ask the kids to go slow, and you can have a leader up there and monitor the kids. This works really well with stop and go signs. So if you're doing like a transportation theme, you could have green light and red light. Then you'll also see there's a picture of all of the different body parts. There's so many activities to do with the body parts, right? You could do a freeze game and then play the music. When the music stops, pull out a card, and that's the object that they need to place on the floor. So maybe it's their hand, maybe it's their knee, maybe it's their shoulder, maybe it's their nose. Lots of fun things that you can do with just pictures of the body parts. And that's a great way for the children to be learning those, especially at a young age. Do some interactive play, put on head, shoulders, knees, and toes, some really fun music. Then you see the dice that I've got down on the bottom corner screen. This is one I purchased at Target, actually. I didn't realize, and maybe where you live, Target has just opened up like a physical fitness section that has like, it's almost like dollar store type items. And so I found some of the exercise bands there, and I found the really cool dice that has actual exercises on it. So it's not your typical cube that has the dots, you know, that the kids have to count. But this one actually says, you know, 10 squats or 10 push-ups. Not that the little munchkins can do all of the things that are on there, but if you got, you know, some older children that you're working with, there are some dice that are out there that actually have really cool activities that you can incorporate in the classroom. And I love having those around, especially on a rainy day. I wanted to make sure I highlighted this screen, actually, because I know a lot of you, especially in an early childhood classroom or a preschool classroom or early elementary, you're going to have instruments laying around your classroom. And let's be real, as teachers, we don't always like the noises that come from the instruments. But if we're wanting to encourage physical activity, what are some of the ways that we could incorporate these instruments into physical activities? I love setting a beat and then having the instruments go with the beat. And then maybe we're marching around like a little marching band, or we're stomping our feet to the beat, or we stop and we go, you know. So be creative with the instruments that you have. I did not realize until I was much older that you can actually put together like X's and O's, and have the X's be where they actually make a beat, and the O's maybe where they would stop, and have the children read the X's and O's from one side to the other and play their instrument at the same time. As they're doing this, what you're actually training them to do is some early literacy skills. So they're keeping the beat, they're doing something physical, and by reading your X's and O's on the screen or on a paper you've created or a poster, they're actually starting to learn how to comprehend things for their early learning skills for literacy as well. So I always love incorporating instruments into creative play and physical activities. Okay, now this was the list that many of you had, and I love that you noticed that these are things that you probably already have in the classroom that you could use for the physical activities. So we've got the rings and the hoops, the cones, the dice, all the little foam puzzles. I love that Michael's and Hobby Lobby and some of the craft stores, they actually now have those foam cutouts that I love to have around for physical activities. They may be in the shape of a heart for Valentine's Day, or a butterfly for the spring, or sunshines in the summer. But those are really great for hopping skills. Hop over the butterfly, or jump over the frog, or, you know, whatever it may be that you're asking them to do. The hoops are great to have the children actually step into and balance on one foot and then move to the next colored ring. You'll see that I have some little mini rings that are attached to a cone. And I have loved watching the kids actually hold the ring up above their head. And then what I have them do is I have them actually balance on one foot while holding the ring and try to see if they can go all the way down and put the ring on top of the cone. It has been a really fun exercise. And I've used it for kids as young as 2 years old. You may think they can't do it, but if you demonstrate a few times and you kind of assist them and help them, they really can do things that are well beyond what we think they're capable of doing with the physical activities and, with regards to that type of a thing. So, okay, this is so much fun. I hope you will do this. This is an activity that is great to do on a rainy day or a snowy day. Okay, for those of you that live in the snow. I wish we had a little snow here in Florida right now, actually. Okay, so it's pretend that you have walked into a room that is filled with, okay, and then you've got all the cards here. So you've got an inch full of honey. How would you walk? How would you move? How would we get from one place to the other? Uh-oh, now the room is full of leaping flames. Do we leap? Do we hide? Do we sneak around? So you can see all of the ideas here. Ice on the floor. Maybe you teach them how to ice skate a little bit in the classroom. Uh-oh, it's a windy day. And now we're being blown over to the side. Uh-oh, it's a cloudy day. Maybe we have to explore and look. So I love watching this in motion. I hope that you'll implement it into your classroom on a rainy or snowy day. It's so super fun. And then, help them to figure out in their little mind, it's kind of like conflict resolution, right? How do we get from one end to the other without getting all sticky and ooey and gooey? Okay. So great way to pull in lots of the early learning comprehension type skills that we love to see the kids develop as they're little sponges at their age. Okay, so before I hop into some seasonal activities, I want to go back to, go backwards. I want to go back to the chat because at the very beginning here, we talked about what do you have in your classroom. So now that you've kind of seen some examples, are there any additional items that you've thought of while we've been having conversation here that maybe you could pull out and use? Maybe it's something you've got to dust off a little bit. So let's see if anyone's got any more ideas that they could share with us. So I see that a lot of you have got those instruments you're going to pull out. You're going to create your marching bands. I love the bean bags. I've got an activity I'm going to share with you under my seasonal activities with a bean bag. Ooh, the hopscotch puzzle. Always fun. And that's fun when you add in maybe some objects where they have to figure out, again, it's using their little brain to maneuver through a conflict, right? So maybe they have to skip over the one that you've put a cone on or figure out how would we get over that part of the hopscotch. Ooh, how many dress-up clothes could you put on in 30 seconds? Oh, I love that. And the Twister game, there's some really fun Twister games that come out around the holiday season that are theme-based. So look for those. Again, Target's been having some really good physical things out lately. I actually purchased like a little Halloween Twister game. It was super cute from Target. Let's see. Okay, looks like everyone's got some really fun things there. And thank you everyone for sharing with us. Okay, so in the last little bit of our lesson here today, I wanted to share some seasonal things. Okay, so we've talked about how to get the kids involved. We've talked about what do we have in our classroom that we can use already. And then I thought it would be fun. I've got so many seasonal activities that are just, sometimes they're totally random and super fun. You probably do some very similar things too. So as I share these, be thinking of other things you do that are seasonal based so that you can share them in the chat with us as well. So let's start in the fall, because right now that's what I'm planning for. I know it's summertime, but I'm thinking ahead to all of the fall festivals and activities. And so let me share with you this next screen. Okay. So here's just an array of things that happen in the fall. We've got back to school. We've got all of the outdoor animals we typically talk about. We've got fire prevention. Don't forget about how much fun it can be doing like stop, drop, and roll. That's a physical activity that we can get the kids doing. Remember, you're going to have a lot of leaf activities and Johnny Appleseed activities and all of the fall festivals that come into play. I thought it would be fun to just share a few activities that we do that are based around a harvest hoedown. You can see all of the madness that goes on around here. We love working off of the themes that are already set and building the physical activity around the theme. So I already mentioned Johnny Appleseed, but I wanted to share the twist of what we did with this. I had this parent that was so good at sewing, and I told her we were doing a Johnny Appleseed theme, and she showed up with these felt Johnny Appleseed hats that look like a pot. Okay, so super cute. And unfortunately they're in a bin way up high and I can't get to them because I'm this short little thing, and I need my staff here to help me with the ladder. So long story short, these Johnny Appleseed upside down pot hats were so stinking cute. I wish I had a picture to show you. But anyway, we put one on each of the children, and then each child had a chance to come up to the apple bin, and they pulled the apple out of the basket, and it had a form of a physical fitness activity on the apple, on the bottom of the apple. And what we did is we used that to create our Johnny Appleseed choreography. And we taught them, that's a very big word, choreography, or dance routine, however you would want to teach it. But with each child and each movement that we did, and we pulled from the apple basket or the apple orchard, you could even go that far to have the apple orchard, the children then had to put in order that dance movement or that physical fitness movement. So it could be shoveling the dirt, it could be pulling the apple from the apple tree, it could be spinning in a circle with joy and happiness, it could be churning the butter, but whatever the activities were, you know, the kids were going to be able to do those type of activities. I'm getting a message here. Oh, I'm going over. I am so sorry. I will move right along. I am sorry, guys. That's what happens when you're on East Coast time. Okay, so leaves, twirl, spin. Here's some winter activities. Don't forget all of the fun things you can do with the winter animals. They like to scoot and slide on their booties. Don't forget the fun that you can have with socks rolled up like snowballs. All of the fun Valentine activities, making, I love making hearts and then making them look like puzzle pieces, and they have to put them together to be able to do the physical activity that's there. And then all of the fun spring activities. There's the beanbag. I told you we love to do beanbag activities where they toss the beanbag and whatever it lands on, that's what they get to do. You can see that there's tons of fun. Summer, go camping, use the little flashlights, do the little twirl and spin of the flashlight, and the kids have to follow the movement of the flashlight. Doing marching bands for 4th of July. Don't forget, you've got the bubbles and the seashells and the frisbees and things for summertime. And don't forget to get your families and your parents involved, okay? Make sure that if you're doing a really fun themed event that, you know, maybe the kids have made a craft, maybe there's a homework assignment or an activity that's a physical fitness-based activity that you could send home for the children to do with their families. And don't forget, you can't do all of this on your own. We love and appreciate you teachers and all that you do, but remember, you've got a whole community and a group of parents behind you doing everything that they can to help make physical fitness a ton of fun. And I will end with that. I am so sorry. I didn't realize I had gone like little Miss Hot Wind here, going and taking too much of your time today. So thank you all for everything.
You're completely fine. No, you're completely fine. I just wanted you to know that, you know, your session was just about wrapping up, so you're completely fine. We want you to talk and share all of your great ideas. Does anybody, before we wrap up completely, want to ask any questions in the chat? Jennifer always has amazing ideas, and she works with children all the time, so she has some really cool things to share. Dr. Heald is putting the participation certificate in the chat that you can download. She's also put it on the screen so you can take a picture. Lakeisha, I agree. She always has amazing information to share. She has so much experience and knowledge.
Sometimes too much. I'm so sorry. Like, oh, we could have gone for hours, people.
Dr. Shipley, can we just